Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the Game Day Show. This is your source for college football entertainment. This is episode 34. We got a lot to talk about today. We got the first college football playoff rankings. I want to react to them. I'm going to rank my top 5 Heisman favorites. We're going to go through the drama between Florida State and Clemson, and I'm going to give you your weekly picks. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some college football content. All right, so let's go through the college football playoff first rankings. Let's start with that. So I'm going to go through the whole rankings, and then we're going to react to them. So number 1 is Alabama. 2 is Notre Dame. 3 is Clemson. 4 is Ohio State. 5 is Texas A&M. 6 is Florida. 7th is Cincinnati. 8th is Northwestern. 9th is Georgia. Miami is ranked number 10. Oklahoma is at 11. Indiana is at 12. Iowa State's at 13, BYU's at 14, 15 is Oregon, 16 is Wisconsin, 17 is Texas, 18 is USC, 19 is UNC, 20 is Coastal Carolina, 21 is Marshall, 22 is Auburn, 23 is Oklahoma State, 24 is Iowa, and 25 is Tulsa. Now, my first reaction to this is BYU. Now, BYU is ranked 14th in the country. But if you look at the AP poll, they're top 10. Like, why is the college football playoff ranking them so low? Now BYU does have a Heisman contender in Zach Wilson, and the quarterback is playing amazing. I believe he's scoring 5 touchdowns a game. Like, he's putting up crazy numbers. But the problem with BYU is their schedule. They don't play anyone. They're blowing out every team, but they're not playing one. I believe their best opponent was Boise State. Now, Boise State's not part of the Power 5, and they're part of the Power 10, I would call it, like the 5 next best conferences. But who have they played? I mean, they played like FCS teams like Texas State, Western Kentucky, UTEP, La Tech. I mean, who have they played? And I want to see them going against a real opponent. I mean, I think they can compete, and they're playing San Diego State as their final game. They could have more. They could be adding more to their schedule. But I want to see BYU play more on their schedule, since I kind of agree with the playoff ranking. And, they are blowing off teams, but who have they played? I mean, if any of these teams would be playing the schedule that BYU is playing, they'll go undefeated like BYU is now. Zach Wilson is a fantastic quarterback. I mean, the dude has 26 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 270, 24 passing yard rating. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, his numbers are Heisman potential numbers, but who have they played? I mean, San Diego State's not the most caliber opponent on who they should be playing. Another team to look out for in the road ahead is Ohio State. They're ranked number 4, but can Justin Fields bounce back from that performance last Saturday against Indiana? He did throw 3 interceptions, but Ohio State did get the close win. Can Ohio State get the bounce back win? I mean, Indiana's ranked number 12 in the country. I think that's a good position, and they're playing really hard against the Blue Bloods of the Big Ten, like Penn State. They beat Penn State. They beat Michigan. I want to see Indiana progress, but I also want to see Ohio State progress. I want to see how Justin Fields plays better, since his 3 interceptions. I mean, his throws were not as caliber as we know Justin Fields throws would be. I mean, he is getting good numbers, but I don't want to see him get 3 interceptions in the game. Like, that's not acceptable if you're a top 4 team in the United Nation. Next up is the A&M and Florida, and those two are mixed up. A&M did win against Florida and get the head-to-head, so I guess you can rank A&M 5, but they have been off on college football because of COVID for 2 weeks. I think they've been off. I think they play this Saturday. When we'll get to the game picks later, but Florida has a Heisman contender in Kyle Trask. We'll talk about that in a second with the rankings. I want to see if Florida wins out, then they're in. If Florida does beat Alabama, they're in. If A&M wins out, they're not in. Like, it's so weird, the playoff, because we can have so many scenarios. Like, if Florida beats Alabama in the playoff in the SEC championship game, and then A&M wins out, and do you put A&M or Alabama? I mean, Alabama does have the head-to-head over A&M, so I'll put Alabama. But let's say if Clemson beats Notre Dame, Florida beats Alabama, Florida's in since they beat in their SEC championship game. And do you put Notre Dame or Alabama in the playoff? Because Clemson's going to get in if they beat Notre Dame for the second time. I know they have the loss, but they're getting Trevor back. And you're probably going to have Ohio State, since, the only challenge right now is Northwestern. Wisconsin lost last week. They already have the head-to-head against Indiana. So who's going to go in, Notre Dame or Alabama? I'm going with Alabama in that scenario because Notre Dame won in the playoff before. They were terrible. They got blown out. And who else have they played besides Clemson? Even though they beat Clemson without a couple defensive guys and their starting Heisman contender and Trevor Lawrence. All right, so let's go through my top 5 Heisman contenders. Now, this is November 25th. Obviously, things will change over the course of the year. We don't know what's going to happen. So these are my Heisman rankings as of November 25th. Let's get started with Justin Fields. Now, I would rank Justin Fields higher if it was last week because he did throw those 3 interceptions. They were pretty bad interceptions too. Against Indiana. I want to rank him 5th, but I mean, he can go higher as the weeks go on. I just want to see him progress, I mean, he does have 13 touchdowns and a couple games and 1,200 yards, but I want to see him progress. I want to see Fields progress. I want to see him how he bounce back. And like I said a couple minutes before, I want to see how he progresses throughout the year. He's playing really well. I think he does belong in the conversation. I think below Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and the running backs, I think they're good. But I think we're going to have an all-quarterback Heisman race this year just because they're that good. But, I mean, this 5 slot can be anyone. I mean, Zach Wilson could be on here, and we could see him later throughout the list. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but we could see Zach Wilson. All this can change. Trevor Lawrence, and I know he's missed a lot. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and the 2 running backs in Etienne and Najee Harris. So we could see a lot. But this 5 spot I'm giving to Justin Fields. All right, coming in at the number 4 spot, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. Now, here's why. Okay, maybe a lot of people have him top 3, but I'm having number 4. I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the best players in college football, but the reason I have him at number 4 is because he did miss 3 games due to COVID and then the postponing of the FSU game, which we'll talk about later in the show. But if he would have played those 2, if he would have played balled out against Notre Dame, he would have been top 3, top 2. But the problem is that he missed so much game time that would you rank and would he win the Heisman? Now, and he's putting up ridiculous numbers and 17 touchdowns, 1,833 passing yards. But can you upset those 3 games? Now, I want to see what he does against Notre Dame in the future. If he does beat Notre Dame, I do think he will crack the top 3, and here's why. He is predicted number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And I feel like it's going to be a career achievement award. And, as a freshman, he did win the national championship game. He has played amazing since. So maybe they'll just give it to Trevor for marketing issues because he is going to be the first all pick like we saw with Joe Burrow last year. Maybe they'll just give it to him. But I want to see how he plays. Now, it's not all about marketing. It's about how he plays. And I feel like that's most important this year is the stats. Because you're not doing anything else. COVID restrictions are hard, being a leader. So, and you got to put up good stats, especially since you're playing a conference only schedule, and not out of conference schedules, like teams that are good. Rivalry, like South Carolina last year. So you got to, put up good numbers, and Trevor's putting up good numbers for the games he has played. Now, he does need to play more games, and we'll see throughout how he progresses, but right now I have number 4 spot since he has missed the last 3 games, and I want to see him how he plays this weekend. Coming in at the 3 spot, I have Zach Wilson. Now, Zach Wilson is playing amazing for BYU, and we talked about this before, how BYU hasn't played anyone, but Zach Wilson is putting up crazy numbers. I'm pretty sure I already said in the show, but he put up 26 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 270, 24 passing yards. Now, he's playing amazing, Zach Wilson. I think he cracks the top 3 right now, not in the future. I don't think he'll be in the top 3 in the future, but right now, I think he cracks the top 3. Then play one more game against San Diego State. He is playing amazing. If you watch BYU football, their offense is one of the best in college football, but they haven't played anyone. So I want to see how that progresses throughout how other teams play. But Zach Wilson is playing amazing. Coming in at the number 2 spot, I got Mac Jones. Now, these last 2 candidates can be switched around tremendously, but number 2, I got Mac Jones, and here's why. He's playing fantastic. He has so much weapons throughout Alabama's offense, and that's really why I'm ranking him number 2. Because he has so much weapons. Number 1 candidate doesn't really. His starting player has been out for the last couple of weeks, and he's playing amazing. So we'll talk about it in a second. But Mac Jones is playing amazing. Najee Harris with him. Whoo, that's a dynamic duo right there. He has 18 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2,426 yards. Now, those may not be the flashy stats, but if you watch the game, he is playing fantastic. His completion percentage is insane. His QBR is 95.3. I mean, that's insane. If you watch this man, he just put 63 on Kentucky last week. I mean, what's going on with Mac Jones? He's playing fantastic. Alabama team's rolling. I cannot wait to watch him in the SEC championship game. Coming at number 1, I got Kyle Trask. Now, I have a lot to say about him as a Gator fan, but I truly think a lot of people's number 1 is Kyle Trask right now. I mean, he has put up 31 touchdowns in 7 games. Are you kidding me? 3 interceptions and 2,504 passing yards. I mean, this dude's insane. 93.6 QBR. Now, Kyle Trask, if you watch him, he's playing amazing. Kadarius Toney's playing amazing too, by the way. But Kyle Pitts has been out. They're starting probably the best playmaker in college football other than Jalen Waddle, but he's hurt for Alabama. But Kyle Pitts has been out for the last couple of weeks now. He has played amazing without Pitts out. I mean, he has thrown 4 touchdowns like every game besides the last game against Vanderbilt. He's playing amazing. Trask is. Now, the thing that impresses me the most is all against SEC games. And his stats are playing amazing. But the real key, Mac Jones and Kyle Trask can get switched around. Whoever wins the SEC championship game, in my opinion, will win the Heisman. Is it going to be Mac Jones or Kyle Trask? Whoever wins that game will win the Heisman. I'm putting on him right now. All right, let's get to some game picks. Now we have a couple of Friday games. We have Iowa State and Texas. I have Texas this one. I think they're playing good right now with Sam Ellinger on a quarterback. I think they're playing pretty good. Nice bounce back there. I have Texas there Friday night. Nebraska and Iowa. Now it's another Friday night game. I have Iowa. Now Iowa's playing fantastic. Nebraska is a complete train wreck there with Scott Frost and their coach. Iowa's playing pretty good there, 3-2. I have Iowa in this one. Notre Dame, North Carolina. Now this is a very upset watch. I'm pulling the upset right now. I have North Carolina beating Notre Dame there. I'm pulling the upset right now. I don't think Notre Dame's ready. Ian Book is playing pretty good. I mean, he's kind of mixed. I mean, he played very good against Clemson, then he kind of was a bummer in the first half of last game. So we'll see how Ian Book plays, but I'm calling the upset right now. I have North Carolina winning. Oregon versus Oregon State, the rivalry game. Oregon's going to blow them out. I mean, Oregon State's 1-2. I mean, what do you expect? Ohio State, Illinois. I have Ohio State. No, they're wrong. I want to see how Justin Fields progresses, and like we said. But I have Ohio State in that one. Florida, Kentucky. Kentucky did beat Florida, snapping that 31 winning streak the last time they visited the swamp. Sorry, my bad. But I have Florida. I'm pretty sure they're like a 25 point favorite. I have Florida blowing them out. Maryland, Indiana. Now this one's gonna be a very, very good matchup. They're both playing good football. I have Indiana in a very close one. But it's a very good game. Underdog game for this weekend. A lot of games got gotten postponed, like Tulsa and Houston. Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Sorry, Oklahoma State's going to win. They're playing pretty good there. Minnesota and Wisconsin got canceled. That's a pretty big bummer. We were looking forward to that. Coastal Carolina, Texas State. Coastal Carolina is a fun team to watch. I'll tell you that right now. I have Coastal Carolina winning that one. We have Pittsburgh and Clemson. I have Clemson blowing them out. I think Trevor's going to have a brilliant game coming back. I think they're going to play good. Northwestern, Michigan State. Northwestern is a very good team, a team to watch out for in the playoff. I think they're an underdog for the playoff. I think they're playing pretty good with 5-0. I have Northwestern there. Colorado, USC, battle of the undefeateds there. I have USC. I think they're playing pretty good there. LSU, A&M. A&M, they're playing fantastic before with all the cancellations. I want to see how they match up against this mediocre LSU team, and they can be sneaky sometimes, but they're pretty bad. I have A&M in this one, but I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. Georgia, South Carolina, JT Daniels first started to 4 touchdowns last week. I have Georgia in this one. I think they're playing great football. For South Carolina, Will Muschamp to get fired a couple weeks ago. I want to see how they play. I know they played last week and they lost, I think. I want to see how South Carolina plays with 2-6 record. Oklahoma and West Virginia. I got Oklahoma in this one. I think Spencer Lauber's playing a lot better than he did in the first half of the season. I think in the first half of the season he was kind of mediocre, throwing a lot of interceptions. Now I think Spencer Rattler is playing pretty good football there. And the game of the week presented by your Northbrook Eagles, Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl. Now, this one's always very sneaky. Auburn somehow finds a way to win every year. Bo Nix, Bo Picks, whatever you want to call him, playing all right this year. But Mac Jones, Najee Harris and Mac Jones, you can't compare to those dynamic duo. I think Alabama's going to blow them out like they did. Auburn shouldn't have won a couple games early in the season. I don't even know why they're even ranked. But I have Alabama, this one, blowing them out. All right, that's the end of the show. Make sure you go follow Bass Productions and All Gator Nation on Instagram, and go follow me on the Updog Rating Show. We'll get back to you soon next week. Have a good college football Saturday. We'll see you all later.